welcome back to the channel. This is No Luck Trucking. I'm Matt. We're sitting at our next pickup, which we are 15 hours early for. We dropped our trailer. We're sitting over bobtail. You can probably tell by the corner of the graphics what it is. Well, and I mentioned it on the last videos, but we're sitting at a FedEx. We're continuing with the FedEx trend. We are part-time FedEx drivers. Federal Express. That's been going pretty well. The rates are good. It lines up really well with our stuff, especially being team. And some of these are solo, but you can just run them in, get them there ASAP. They don't care how early you get there. You just can't be late. So this is going to be a talking video since we have just wrapped up the last delivery episode video that's already out. Well, actually, first of all, I want to thank everyone that ordered a shirt. I'm actually wearing one right now. They're at nolucktrucking.com if you do want to check them out. I appreciate it. There's been so many orders now that we have to take inventory and see if we're going to order more. Because there for a while, I wasn't really I guess I wasn't doing a good job of advertising them, so people didn't know that they even existed. But it was to the point where I didn't really care. I'm not doing it to make any money. I honestly could care less about it, but it was just an idea. I wanted a bunch of the shirts for myself, and then if people wanted to support the channel and also have a cool shirt, give them the opportunity to purchase one. And since the time where we showed the logo and announced it and stuff, we've sold quite a few, probably more than we have since we started, actually. But huge thanks to you guys that have taken the time to check them out and purchase one if you like the design. So we might have to consider ordering some more. I don't know yet. I got to see what the inventory levels are and how they continue to sell. We do have another shirt design as well, but again, it's just such an investment, and I have no idea if people are even going to want it or anything. So it's hard to justify it, especially right now where you gotta kind of keep the machine lean. But anyways, so today's topic, kind of wanted to talk about, you kind of have to have a goal in trucking. Well, you have to have a goal in life, but especially in trucking, there's so much time, especially for the solo guys. You're kind of isolated for long periods of time, plenty of time to get in your head, and sometimes it's not good. But you have to have a reason to be out here and making the sacrifice, because this job is not that glamorous. There was maybe a week of time during the pandemic where everyone was like, they're heroes, oh my god. But then after that, I was like, get out of my way, you slow trucks. No, you can't park here, no, you can't shop here. Most of us aren't out here for the glory anyways. We're out of here because it's a means to an end. So you have to have something to strive for, whether it be hobbies. I've mentioned it a few times, Liz and I are both into cars, so a big part of the reason why we're out here is we want to be able to afford, the cars that we like to work on, the parts that we want to put on them. We want to make a drag car and take it to some of the events where you drive to each of the tracks and then you race. And it's a big week-long event that looks like a ton of fun. But all of that requires money, obviously, to build the cars and stuff. And it takes time to be off work to build the car, and then it also obviously takes time to be off work to go and do the events. But that was when we first started. Once we paid off our debt, that was kind of a big motivator, is we wanted to be able to afford the cars that we like to build. And before, the cars are what got us into debt. Just poor spending habits on cars that we shouldn't have bought, or parts that we shouldn't have bought, or you see shiny things, you want shiny things, you buy shiny things, whether you can afford it or not. And just having the money to buy it does not mean you can afford it. But that was a lesson that we learned later on in life, after we cleaned up our finances and stuff. But also, we had the goal of buying land and like building a house, or buying something that we want, not something that we get just because it's in our price range. Like this go around, when we buy a house, it's going to be, we're either going to buy pre-built that fits exactly what we want. We're not going to really settle for less, or we're going to buy land and build it up ourselves. So that's been a huge factor. Now, obviously, buying this truck is slowing our buying the house process down by a few years, but once the truck's taken care of, we'll be able to stack up quite a bit of money and also maintain our, safety net for breakdowns and, the market going south and things like that. But a huge drive for us, and the reason why we stay out for months at a time, is the end goal of buying a house, buying land exactly where we want, exactly what we want. So obviously it's going to have a huge garage with like a little house attached somewhere, but we want enough land, eventually when we're not trucking full time all the time, we'd like to be more self-sustaining, have animals, livestock, if you will, maybe gardens, things like that. But also, we need enough space that we can get back into the things that we used to do that we really enjoyed, like powder coating, working on cars. Liz is really good at art, and at one point we had like a mini studio in the garage with a kiln to fire the pieces and all of the pottery things. So I'd like to get back to something like that. It was a good life, except for the whole money part. That was a huge issue. We just didn't have enough of it to kind of go around. But now, being in the position that we're in and making the kind of money that we're making, I think we can go about it in a way different process. So we won't end up, dead broke, but having some nice things. Also, while out, you really, really need to take the time and be productive with it. So a lot of people are very surprised with the number of things that I know how to do, but I take a lot of the free time that we have and I learn new skills that I'm interested in, because realistically, you have about 10 hours a day at least of driving where you can listen to podcasts or books or anything like that. You can learn entire hobbies while you're out here. It's not difficult to do, and then when you go on home time, you can put those things in motion and actually practice the things that you've learned. So like the barbecue meats, like using the smoker and stuff, I listen to a lot of podcasts or a lot of people's explanations of how they go about it, what they do, the different cuts of meat, things like that. So I learned a ton, and then by the time that we took home time the next time, it was just time to put it all in practice. We listened to a lot of like editing videos. That's kind of turned into a nice hobby for me for these videos that we've been doing. So I've learned different platforms and different programs to like edit, things like that. I didn't know any of that before trucking. I never wanted to get into video because it was another steep learning curve. I did photography for a while, and I mean, that was enough of its own learning curve and specific equipment that you needed, that I didn't want to transition into video because it was just another mountain to climb to kind of learn it. But I mean, with 10 hours a day, it doesn't take long before you have a good understanding of the skill that you want to learn, and then, like I said, you just put it into practice. So thankfully, the video editing I can do while we're driving. So I've learned whole video editing programs that I would have never known, learned tips and tricks and things like that. Now, the editing that I do is not anything fancy, it's just basic stuff, but that also kind of ties into like, if you're going to get into doing YouTube stuff, you have to make it as simple as possible, or you're just not going to follow through with it. Which is why these work really well, where I just talk to the phone, upload it straight through, and then that's that. You know, we have a video. But you know, we've learned tons of skills. Like Liz is learning different crochet stuff now. She's creating her own patterns for that, and it's all just using the time that you have while out on the roads, just partially so you don't go crazy, you know, especially the solo guys with hardly anyone to talk to, you know, throughout the day. If you're not calling people, you know, you're just kind of in your own world, and sometimes it's just not good to be in your head for that long, you know, without some sort of goal or hobby to keep you entertained or keep your mind off of just the monotonous driving. Because when it's all boiled down, driving is pretty boring. You know, like obviously you get to go to different places and it's kind of exciting to be in a different area every day, but like ultimately driving is not the most fun thing. You know, I enjoy the job and I enjoy where we go and what we do and the challenges of, you know, backing into some of the places or figuring out how you're going to navigate through the stuff, but just the day-to-day stuff is not very interesting. So you really have to like keep your mind fed, if that makes any sense. You know, it always has to be like new content to devour, whether it's books, new skills, hobbies, you know, always having a goal. There for a while, actually we still kind of do, like Liz and I, whatever area we're in, we'll look at the Facebook marketplaces for cars that we're probably never going to buy, but it's nice, and like, well, she's like, hey, look at this one, like that's nice, that's a good price, that, you know, we need that. But obviously we don't have a place to store all these things that we want to buy, but it just gives you something to do, and I mean, it's fun, you know, keeps your mind fed, keeps you sharp. I think Liz has probably gone through a large library worth of Audible books and digital library rentals. I've probably consumed enough podcasts to I don't know. I don't even know how to quantify. I've listened to a ton of podcasts. Just basically anything that you can listen to in the background and kind of like learn or just whatever makes the drive go by, you know. So we need to get some sleep because gotta pick up at 2 a.m. tonight. So it is currently noon. So I'm gonna have to check off here. Need to get some sleep, figure out when our trailer is gonna be ready, and then it's gonna be a straight shot to Harrisonburg, Virginia, and then we're gonna be able to pick up some of the things that we've ordered on Amazon that we haven't gotten by the house yet, since we have a mandatory layover of at least 10 hours for the next driver to get there so we can take their trailer up to Connecticut. Yeah, because somebody's going to take ours when we get there, and then we take somebody else's, and then it's just a whole relay mess. But it should be interesting. We've never done that with Landstar. Actually, yeah, the closest we came was at Prime. We used to repower trailers if a solo guy didn't have enough hours, or you know, sometimes they pulled some shady stuff to get you to repower things. But that's a story for another day. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.